Hey, hey, hey. It has been so long since I've talked to you all. And I appreciate those who ask where I've been and why I haven't done a video because I didn't know that people really wait for them. So thank you for thinking about me, for missing me, but I am back. I don't know how long I'm back for, but I'm back definitely. But I did want to come on here and share something. Normally when I do my videos, I share my story or share something that I experienced in hopes to inspire somebody, to motivate somebody, encourage them, to help them live a higher or better version of themselves, something I hope people can get from my videos. This video is really about my experience meeting my family members for the first time. If you've been following me, then you know that last year, I had someone reach out to me on Ancestry.com. She said that we were connected. It said we were first cousins. And I'm like, oh, we can figure that out, because first cousins is close. When you become a third, fourth, and fifth, there's a lot of people in between. We may not be able to figure it out. But I'm like, first cousins, we got this. So we will figure it out. But before we had a chance to do that, she sent me a message and said, hey, this is my granddad and you're my aunt. And the picture was my dad's obituary. And I'm like, wait, hold up again. Like, hold up. How are you my niece? So I'm like, call me right away. So she calls me and comes to find out that her dad is my brother, a brother that I didn't know about. So I was super excited because I love meeting new family members. I grew up as an only child. My mom only had me. My dad had other kids. I was number 7. I had 3 brothers and 3 sisters growing up, and I was the baby, number 7. So, and that's my lucky number. So I was good with that. But when I was 24, I found number 8. My dad decided to introduce us to a new brother at his wedding. So it was pretty cool. He's older than me too, and we're still really good brothers and sisters. We have a great relationship. And so when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, here's somebody else. Now I knew that there were probably other kids. If you knew anything about my dad, then you knew that there was a possibility. But also, when he went to his 50th class reunion, he told me that he won an award. He won the award for having the most children. And I'm like, 8 is a lot. And then he said, well, they said I have 12. Who's they? Like, they only could say it if you told them. So I felt like that was my dad's way of letting me know that there's some more out there that we just don't know about. So it wasn't surprising that I got that hit for having a new niece, or a new brother, I guess I should say, through my new niece, and haven't had the opportunity to meet him yet. Looking forward to it. I don't know that he took it well. I can't say. He didn't know my dad. And unfortunately, by the time he found out about my dad had passed. So I think it's harder for him, but I definitely look forward to the day when I finally get a chance to meet him. So that was through Ancestry.com. And then fast forward to last November, because that was probably July when we met, me and my niece, who lived in California and was moving over to Virginia for a few months for her judge advocate general training. She's a JAG in the Army. So proud of her. 34, doing her thing, has a 2-year-old, a husband, just a beautiful, beautiful soul with a beautiful, beautiful family. So anyway, fast forward to November, I decided to do 23andMe because 23andMe gives you health stuff. And so I was like, well, let me see what I'm prone to, because I know my family has Alzheimer's on my granddad, well, my mother's side of the family. My dad's side, I don't know what they have because I don't really know my dad's people all like that. And my dad really didn't have ailments until he got with dementia. So I needed to just see, or wanted to just see what was going on. And all of a sudden I get a hit. Someone sends me a message like, hey, do you mind talking to me? It says that we're first cousins and I don't know my family. So I would love to talk to you to see if maybe you know who my dad is. So I go look this guy up and he's like 35. And I was like, I think I know who his dad is. And the reason is because when I was younger, I used to have pictures in my wallet of my nephews. And they were 1 and 2 at the time, or 2 and 3. They were little. And I remember this, and my purse got stolen. And I remember this because when I went to Russia to run, I was the only Black person, the only high schooler that had gone. And so they raised a lot of money for me. And so I bought things, bought souvenirs for people, but I also kept a little bit for myself because I wanted to buy a purse. And my purse got stolen with the pictures inside. And I was really sad, more about the pictures than the purse. And so when this guy shows up and I look at his picture, look at his age, I'm like, this may be one of those little kids. Like, I knew they existed. Nobody had said anything to me about them in any year, like my oldest sister would kind of sometimes talk about them, but most of the time it's as though they didn't exist. And my brother, who would have been their dad, or who is their dad, never said anything. So you just kind of be like, okay, I guess this is whatever it is. And I'm not that close to that brother to have said anything or asked a question. It's just what it was. But all of a sudden I get this hit on, and 23andMe, and I'm looking like, I think that this is the kid. And what made me think that is because, well, it was 2 things. One, he was mixed. And I remember that my brother's kid's mother was a white lady. So that much I knew. But then my nephew asked, is anybody in your family deaf? And when he said that, I knew exactly who he was. I don't have anybody that's deaf, but I knew that my brother had dated a woman who was deaf because he used to sign. And we used to be like, how do you know how to sign? And so that's how I knew who this guy was, he and his brother. So I was super excited because I had been wondering what happened to them, never knew. Come to find out, he lives literally right next to Roanoke. Like, Roanoke is about a whole good 15 minutes wide. It's a little city, but where he lived is like maybe 5 minutes away. So I was like, I'm going to meet them. And so I go to Virginia once a year for my nephew that I bring to Cleveland. I wasn't getting them this year, but I knew that I could meet my new nephew. And then also my new niece was in Charlottesville, which is like 2 hours away. So that's what I did last weekend. It was a wonderful, joyful time. My niece is awesome. My nephew is awesome. They both have beautiful family with beautiful spouses and kids. I was so happy and emotional, which is why I didn't talk about it a whole lot, because I needed to process it for myself. And the other beautiful thing with it is that my oldest brother and my newest brother, not the one through my niece, but the one that I met when I was 24, we all road trip together to go to Charlottesville to meet my new niece. And that was the first time that has ever happened. I never road trip with my brothers. And I although we were in my car, I sat in the back seat with my 2 brothers in the front. It was awesome. But I say all this because I just kept thinking about my dad this whole time. And I saw a cardinal fly in front of me when I was driving down to Roanoke through the West Virginia mountains. And if anybody is one of those people who think everything has a meaning, you know that a cardinal is like a loved one coming back to you, saying, with a message. And I just kept thinking that this is my daddy. This is my daddy. Like, because he would be so proud of my niece and nephew. And he would be happy that we found my new brother, even though we haven't met him. So I was just emotional about that. But I also thought about, just my dad's life. Of course, I only knew my dad for my life. He had a whole life before me. And then, and evidently that's when some of these kids, well, all the kids, I still am the baby as far as I know. But that's when these kids were produced. And excuse me. And I think about my dad and his life. And if you met my dad, you would have been one of the many who loved him. My dad had a great personality, always the life of the party, always loud and loved having a good time. But I always felt he was tormented by the fact that he did not have a relationship with his kids. I had him in my life. He was here in Cleveland pretty much my whole life until I was 29. So I had him. But like my other siblings didn't. And of course, the ones that we don't know about, they didn't have them in his life. And I think he had a lot of guilt and shame because of it. Now, my dad, he lived an unapologetic life. He was very much unapologetic. But I do think that he carried a lot of guilt and shame because of the kids that he, that were conceived that he didn't have a relationship with. And so I just wanted to bring that to you because I always want to leave you with something. Like we all have things that we've done that we may have shame about or have guilt, but that does not serve us if we hold on to that shame and that guilt. It's a very high cost to carry that around. You're paying a high price. And so I just want to say, if you have anything that you feel guilt for, or if you have some shame, like those are low frequency types of energy. And that's not what we want in our lives. We want to attract the high ones, the love, the joy. That's the stuff we want. We leave the doubt, the fear, the guilt, the shame, all that somewhere else because it doesn't serve us. And so I just want to challenge you today that if there is something that you have guilt for, or something where you may feel shamed about, to let it go. Learn from that experience and move on. Just do better. So that's what I have for you now. I hope this is not 20 minutes because I don't know how not to talk too much. I really don't. But anyway, it's good to be back. I will do some more videos as I feel inspired to. But until the next time, know that I love you and let go of that stuff. Okay. Bye-bye.